This is the Dictus. I can't handle the fact that it exists, but I must hand it to Bandai for making this kit good. On the other hand, you lots who would buy this kit second hand would experience a bit of a punch in the gut. Just remember to wash it frequently with soap, or don't touch it at all, but most importantly, never ask it for a job offering. What is going on, guys? MJ105 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the high-grade Jurisdis Sinistra Dictus from Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam Steel 7. Now, I'm still struggling with wrapping my head around the fact that something like this exists, because it's just so peculiar, it's just so out there. But which one of the Jupiter Empire mechas aren't out there except for the Divinidad? Because honestly, the Divinidad looks the most normal out of all of their designs. But overall, I really do like how Bandai actually translated this design into a model kit form, because they actually split the colors right down the middle and molded them in like separate plates. And of course, the color separation is done really well, apart from the coloring accuracies, which consists of the feather funnels in the back scoop, but I prefer them in gray honestly, and the small thrusters on the back. They should be gray instead of white. But overall, Bandai did a fantastic job at translating the Dictus design into a model kit, and they only require a few modifications, small ones at that, to actually make the other version, which is the Libertas Dextra Dictus, the other one. So all they need to do is to actually modify the arches over here, so they need to mirror the designs, and they need to mold a left manipulator, and the rest is history. So yeah, maybe we will see the Libertas Dextra Dictus soon, not really too sure, but the Jurisdis Sinistra Dictus that I have here is pretty good. The only thing that I would complain about are all the seam lines that you cannot clean up, or if you do actually plan to clean up all the seam lines on the thighs, the shoulders, the arms, the legs, you may want to reapply a layer of gloss over here. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle to remove all of the seam lines that are in the design, so that's a little bit of a flaw. However, when it comes to the colors again, the only sticker that it has is the Spirit Away mask, the eye under it. But of course, the light isn't really shining on the eye, so it's a little bit hard to tell. But the one that I went for is the one that has the eye on the top right. There are other selections over here, so there's one on the top left and a blank one over here. So you can actually use the 3 eyes over here to actually place the eye wherever you want. So that's pretty good on Bandai's part. But overall, I really do like this design. The articulation department is going to be a little bit weird. So the only head over here can actually be pulled out and rotated a little bit. So not too much in the head. So yeah, it's pretty good for what it is. And then the arms over here, they can rotate. This panel over here can move up. So the left arm can actually move out that far. But the right arm has nothing getting in the way, so it can move out perpendicular to the body. They both have the same rotation above the elbow and a double jointed bend at the elbow. Same thing goes for here, but this seems to have a little bit less articulation when compared to the claw. Or it may be the same, I don't know. Sometimes the eyes can trick you. But over on this hand, you do have a gigantic claw that has individual pincers. And over here, you do have a small pincer and a ball jointed wrist. But keep in mind that this ball joint over here is humongous. So you cannot replace the hand that is in this kit with any other hand from any other kit. So unique manipulator. And then in the waist is very good, because you have nothing to get in the way of it utilizing the ball joint to the fullest extent. So you can basically do whatever the hell you can do on a single ball joint with the waist. There are no front skirts, no side skirts, but the back skirt attached to the backpack can actually move, although it can get a little bit squeaky because of the gloss, but it can move after all. There are no unique mechanics in the legs, so all they can do is rotate all the way around, just like so. So basically, pretty good forward movement. Going backwards, okay. Going outwards all the way, pretty nice. Rotation at the hip. A double jointed knee that can bend very far, considering the fact that this bend can actually go forward as well. So it's going to be interesting to see them actually redo the Hydra Gundam in modern day engineering, if they actually decide to do that. And there's a ball joint at the foot, and a forward and back joint. So all in all, articulation on the Dictus is very good considering what it can do. So the Dictus can actually do whatever you want it to do. Accessories. First of all, the beam cannon beside the head. There's the SB13 beam you can plug into the eye over here to simulate it firing. That's pretty nice. Second of all, the beam claws, which does have 4 of these side effects from the Love Phantom for you to play around with them. So you can plug the effects onto the pincers on the arms and also the tips of the toes to actually simulate a beam claw attack. But these are mainly for the hand mode, which destroys the illusion, but you can actually use them in mobile suit mode, which is pretty nice that it actually comes with all of them. Shame on the Miss Sazabi, huh? And last but not least, it does come with a beam axe, which is seriously color inaccurate. You have some gray parts over here on the top and the guard. You do have a red cartridge over here, and you should have a gold blade, but it's just molded in 2 halves, white with a green blade. And holding it is going to be the one issue that I have with this kit, because you need to split open the hand, put it in. It's nothing too bad, but then the guard that's actually get in the way of the arm design, so you need to rotate the arm sideways in order to use the axe, which does limit posing possibilities. To top it all off, the axe is kind of heavy, so at some point it can actually pry open the hand very easily and drop out like it didn't exist. So be careful with that, stiffen up the hand, or just dump the axe to the side altogether, because to me, the axe is a little bit redundant in this kit considering the fact that this thing can transform. But before I do that, I'm going to bring you guys some comparisons to mobile suit mode. So here we have it against the Crossbone X1, and as you can see, it towers over it. And just for perspective, here is the RX-7802 Gundam, which is still rather small when compared to the Dictus. Now when it comes to the transformation, it is pretty simple. So first of all, you would want to remove the chest plate. It's going to be a little bit tough at first, but after you've done it quite a few times, it is going to be rather easy. And yes, sometimes it does split in half. So yeah, this is how they molded these separate colors, and you can put this off to the side for now. And you want to rotate the left arm over here and raise it so that the beam cannons over here can wrap around the arm. And for the right one, you rotate it to the side and shift it out, at the same time removing the head. And you should bring in this neck piece over here and then put the head back on, just like so. This is what happens if you waited for too long. And then you just shift these joints down over here, rotate the arms to form the fingers, and then flip this entire kit upside down before you adjust the legs over here. Last but not least, you bring in this extra piece, which is the chest piece but flipped down, to lock everything into place so that the arms don't go back up. And one final thing about the transformation, you should remove this back panel by pushing it on the top like so and grabbing it up to reveal an action base hull that only works with the Action Base 5. So you cannot actually use the normal cheap stands that come in most model kits nowadays. So I would advise you to buy an Action Base 5 if you don't have one, alongside the Dictus if you plan to get it. So this is the Dictus in mobile armor mode. So what more could I say about this? It's just a giant hand. The most peculiar transformation I've ever seen in Gundam. Of course, you need to do some micro adjustments just to give it more of the illusion that this thing is actually a hand, and it can do everything that mobile suit mode can do aside from wielding the axe. So you can fire the beam cannon, and you can deploy the beam claws over here just by using the effect parts, but at the same time it does kind of destroy the illusion that this thing is actually a giant hand. So articulation on the hand is pretty good as well. So you do have the double ball joint at the thumb, so you can actually put it in all sorts of weird positions. The index finger actually has the worst articulation because you cannot actually bend the index finger due to the armor piece that is cuffed over it, because if you dislodge it, it'll just look weird. But you do have a rotation at the arm over here, and of course a rotation at the joint down there because it is on a circular peg. So it does have a certain degree of adjustability. And of course the middle finger and the ring finger are just the legs, but you can bend them forwards, and the feet has the same articulation as ever. And the pinky over here does have the same exact joint, and it can do what the arm can do. This is basically the mobile armor mode of the Jurisdis Sinistra Dictus. So what I have left to do is to pan the camera backwards and actually bring in a comparable mobile armor mode, which is the Gundam Aegis Knight. Not even the mecha funnel squid thing has a grasp on the hand over here. So that's gonna wrap it up for the Dictus review, and I'm glad to say that it is surprisingly good. The only things I don't like about it are the lack of colors on the axe, the fact that the mobile C has a hard time holding it, and the C lines everywhere that are hard to clean up due to the gloss coating. But overall, this thing is an 8 out of 10 because good articulation, check. Fluent transformation, check. Overall weirdness, there's no question. So I would absolutely recommend you guys to pick this thing up because it can do what you expect it to do. But there's this one gripe that I have about the kit contents, is that despite the high price point of 260 Hong Kong dollars, this thing does not include an Action Base 5, which is needed to display the mobile armor mode. The fact that Action Base 5s were included in certain kits in the past, it just doesn't validate the reason to not include one of them inside of this kit. But that's just a small gripe, so if you're picking this kit up, definitely go ahead and pick up an Action Base 5 as well if you plan to display this thing in the mobile armor mode. And when the Libertas Dextra Dictus comes out, of course that is also recommended to every one of you who is interested in this design. So that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.